Hello, dear friends. Almost every day I find a sentence that reveals a great theme when I pull the thread. Opinion article. Starting the transition. Gold will set us free. Significant changes. Love will drag us. Gross inner happiness. New world economy. Communities in transition. Material and spiritual development. And a national day of happiness. Happiness comes through solidarity. Quality of life instead of quantity. Gross national happiness instead of GDP. Proposal of 21 hours of weekly work. We face a roadless F. Postmaterialism would be a cultural change, the greatest good for the greatest number of beings. Let's start. The transition would last 3 years, 2024, 25, and 26, so that the entire process would be completed by 2027, according to the messages from heaven. But it seems that the start has been brought forward this month of September. The 2 years of pause have been 2022 and 23. That is calm before the storm, but nothing seems to be very calm. All signs indicate that the financial transition towards system change has already begun. Each bloc tries to get away with its respective model, but the most important are the G7, the G20, and the BRICS Plus. In this transformation process, there are good, bad, and regular characters, but I am sure that at the end, common sense will prevail, which sometimes seems to be the least common of senses. The bad ones try to imitate the model of the good ones, but they offer something else with beautiful words. The BRICS nations are ready to emerge and present themselves as a new world economy, their own system, and not an alternative to a multinational or multilateral institution. The message that has been sent to the whole world is that through the BRICS, developing countries and emerging markets must take responsibility from their own evolution. Definition. Transition is the action and effect of passing from one mode of being to a different one through a sudden change of tone and expression. An evolutionary transition is a species with intermediate morphological features between two types of organisms. In chemistry, the transition state theory explained the rate of elementary chemical reactions. Energy transition refers to a significant change in an energy system that could be related to a combination of factors such as system structure, scale, economics, and energy policy. It is generally defined as a long-term structural change in an energy system. Communities in transition, often known as communities as transition movements, are local initiatives that seek to address economic, ecological, and social challenges at the community level by promoting citizen participation. These initiatives originated in the UK in the early 2000s and have spread globally ever since. These communities are community citizen projects that seek to create social resistance against the collapse caused by economic instability. The so-called transition movement, also known as the Transition Network or Citizen Transition, is a pragmatic and non-partisan movement in favor of agroecology, permaculture, the consumption of local and collectively produced goods, the growth, the recovery of skill for life, and harmony with the rest of nature and the use of renewable energy. The movement originated in the UK in 2005 with the creation of the first transition group in Totnes, Devon, and since spread globally to urban and rural communities. It's based on the idea that solutions to global problems can emerge at a local level and promotes the active participation of local residents in decision-making and implementation of measures. Economic transition. A transition economy refers to an economic system that seeks to gradually change from a model based on scarcity towards a more equitable model oriented to the well-being of human beings and the planet. In other words, it seeks an economic transformation that addresses current social and economic challenges. Its emphasis on well-being measures economic success based on human well-being and quality of life rather than simply GDP growth. This can include metrics such as health, education, access to housing, and job quality. The economic and financial transition is a central issue in the international debate on development models and refers to a process by which a financial system undergoes significant changes in its structure, policy, and operation due to a number of factors, such as world economic events, technological advances, or changes in the supply and demand of goods and services. At each stage of this transition, significant changes can be experienced in the economic structure, production, employment, and distribution of wealth. These changes can have a significant impact on the lives of individuals, businesses, and society at large, and are often linked to goals such as economic growth, financial stability, and improved quality of life. Happiness. Gross national happiness or gross domestic happiness is an indicator that measures the quality of life in more holistic and psychological terms than gross domestic product. The term was proposed by the King of Bhutan in 1972 in response to a criticism about the constant economic poverty of his country, whose culture is based on Buddhism. While conventional economic models observe economic growth as the primary objective, the concept of gross national happiness is based on the premise that the true development of human society lies in the complementation and mutual reinforcement of material and spiritual development. The four pillars of gross national happiness are the promotion of sustainable and equitable socio-economic development, the conservation and promotion of cultural values, the conservation of the environment, and the establishment of good governance. According to Daniel Kahneman, Nobel Prize winner in economics, the indicator is measured with a new technique called the data reconstruction method. It consists of collecting memories of the previous workday through a simple diary. The Happy Planet Index is an alternative index of development, human and environmental well-being. Its first publication was in 2006, and it is published every 3 years by the New Economics Foundation. The index is designed to measure the development of countries based on life expectancy and the subjective perception of happiness. The International Day of Happiness is March 20th and was established on June 28, 2012 by the UN General Assembly and was celebrated for the first time in 2013. Happiness comes through solidarity. However, happiness is threatened. The path to it requires fundamental values such as kindness and compassion, especially in times of crisis. Proposals. Proposal for a 21-hour work week. In February 2010, the Foundation for a New Economy carried out a promotional campaign for a gradual transition to a 21-hour work week. It is argued that 21-hour work week could help solve many problems such as overwork, unemployment, low well-being, and social inequality, improving the availability of time to lead a full life. Postmaterialism is a cultural shift identified by political scientist and sociologist Ronald Inglehart as a result of the general increase in economic security and economic growth. The origin of the school occurred in 6 countries of the European Union, which, after the prosperity that followed the Second World War. Utilitarianism is a moral philosophy built at the end of the 18th century by Jeremy Bentham, which establishes that the best action is that which produces the greatest happiness and well-being for the greatest number of individuals involved and maximizes utility. Utility is defined in terms of the well-being of human beings. In neoclassical economics, the satisfaction of preferences is called utility, while in moral philosophy, it is synonymous with happiness. This ethical doctrine is summarized as the greatest good for the maximum number of beings. Digital economy. The World Federation of Exchanges has completed its research work on the operations of the new digital economy and intends to present it at the Davos Forum annual meeting for September 19 to 21, 2023. For the past decade, crypto markets have operated without standard protocols. This research work takes into account how new quantum technologies are merging and adapting to the new environment that is coming. Research, pilot programs, and their application are the 3 phases of development used by governing bodies. This meeting will focus on the development of the crypto market and moving forward the new policies presented by the Financial Stability Board during the G20 meeting. News. The euro is headed for its 8th consecutive week of losses. Gold will make us free, but the powers that be want a new trading system based on digital assets. China bans the iPhone from its officials, and Apple pays dearly for it in the stock market. An attempt is made to blow up the Turkish Stream and Blue Stream gas pipelines, says Lavrov. Messages. Daily message from Kekrach. Human beings fear nothing more than their own power, their divinity, and their true multidimensional being. They know that deep inside there is something magical waiting to burst forth from within their heart. They are not sure what it is, so they fear it and continue in their limited form as gods in amnesia, waiting for outside savers. We often think of ascension as an event, while the company of heaven encourages us to think of it as a series of events that have occurred over the past few years, a series of openings of the heart, because the heart is a portal to higher dimensions, according to Steve Biko, but you are much more involved and committed than before in your enlightenment process, in terms of little real physical, mental, and emotional commitment. The final event in this series could be a total and permanent opening of the heart, which Ramana Maharshi described in this paragraph in quotes. The heart is the seat of enlightened wisdom, as well as the knot of ignorance. It is represented in the physical body by a hole smaller than the smallest point of a pin, which is always closed. When the enlightenment of the 7th chakra descends, it opens but closes again. It opens forever when the Sahaja or Nirvikalpa Samadhi is achieved and turns out to be a portal to higher dimensions. Meanwhile, what we experience is simple more and more love arising, which will sweep away the experience of separate consciousness. Unity of consciousness was always there. It was simply overloaded with separative consciousness. Love will drag us down, and that is ascension, because a greater consciousness implodes and we stop living in the old gilding. I rectify. Love will drag us up, not down. You explode and feel all the energies of the universe, and then lower that ecstasy and anchor it in your expanded field. But each time you made the connection, it expands you more and more, and your ability to love, to create, to do, to be, to connect more and more, until there is no memory, no experience of separation. It was an illusion. We are in a time of individual and collective ascension that has never occurred on our planet or anywhere else. Many of the historical and accurate interpretations regarding to the opening of the heart have and expanded. Ultimately, we are faced with a roadless land with no foothold for you to look for. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.